Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Q4 FY26 earnings conference call of True Colors Limited, hosted by TIL Advisors. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during this conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Abhishek Mehra from TIL Advisors. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Mehra.
Thank you, Neera. Good afternoon and welcome everyone. And thanks for joining this H2 and FY26 earnings conference call of True Colors Limited. The investor updates have already been uploaded on the stock exchange and on the company website. In case you do not have a copy of the same, please feel free to reach out to us. To take us through the discussion, we have with us from the management team, Mr. Satish Panchani, Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Sagar Mulani, Executive Director and Chief Financial Officer, and Javnika Gandharva, Company Secretary and Compliance Officer. We'll be starting the call with a brief overview of the business and the financial performance, which will be followed by the Q&A session. I would like to remind you that everything said in this call reflecting any outlook for the future, which can be construed as a forward-looking statement, must be viewed in conjunction with the risks and uncertainties that the company faces. With that said, I'll now hand over the call to Mr. Satish Panchani for the opening comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I welcome to our earnings call for the second half and the full year FY26. This is one of our first formal interactions with the investor community since our listing. And before we get into the numbers, I would like to take this opportunity to walk you through what True Colors actually is, how the business has been built, and the way we ourselves look at it internally. So we believe this context is important because the number we report each period only makes sense once you understand the architect sitting underneath them, right? Let me start with what the company is about. True Colors Limited is, in the simple term, a digital printing ecosystem company. We are not a machine seller, we are not a paper manufacturer, we are not an ink company, and we are not a fabric printer. We are all of this at the same time, and that is by design. India today is at the very early stage of a transition from conventional screen printing to digital printing in textiles. Globally, the equivalent transition is much further along. The opportunity is in building the infrastructure that the country will need as it adopts digital printing over the next decade. Our aim, and we say this very deliberately, is to build India's digital printing ecosystem. So we began in 2013 with a small sublimation printing setup and a capacity of around 400 meters a day. It was a pure service business at that time. We printed fabric for our customers, and that is what all we did. In 2015, we entered machine trading because we realized that the customer we were printing for were themselves looking to buy machines, and there was no organized player guiding them. In 2016, we started supplying ink, again because the customer buying machines from us need a reliable ink supply, and the imported ink supply chain was fragmented. So at this point, we had three things. Number one, printing services, machines, and ink, all driven by the same customer relationships. In 2018, we took what was in hindsight the most important step. We set up our own sublimation paper plant. And inception, it was 15 lakh meters a month. Sublimation paper is the carrier on which the ink is printed before it is transferred to the polyester fabric. Every sublimation printer in the country makes it on daily basis. And at that point, almost all of the India's sublimation paper was being imported from China. We show that it has a structural gap, and we built the capacity to address it. In 2021, we brought all these businesses under one umbrella, True Colors Limited. So between 2022 and 24, we secured authorization from 5 global OEMs, namely Konica Minolta, Eaton, Tangra, Skyjet, and Hoptech, which gave us a complete range of digital printing machines to offer our customers across all the price points and the application as well. In 2025, we listed on the BSE SME platform, scaled our sublimation paper capacity to over 2 crore meter a month, and expanded our in-house digital fabric printing capacity to 75,000 meter a day. and in FY26, we are in the process of bringing in-house ink manufacturing into our group. So it is through the planned merger of India Inks alongside a strategic partnership with Itaca of Spain for premium pigment ink as well. So if you trace this entire journey, what you will notice is that each business was not bolted on for diversification. Each business came in because the previous business demanded it. The machine business need an ink supply. Ink and machine business need a sublimation paper supply. The supply business need a captive printing operation to demonstrate the technology. And now, the consumable business needs to be backward integrated into manufacturing. So, every step was a response to a gap that our existing customers were running into. So, in this presentation that we have released so far, we have shared the performance of our each vertical very separately. We have given you the revenue, the volume, the growth rate for the technology and consumable and for the printed fabrics as well. We have done this because it will help you to understand the moving parts. But internally, we do not look at the business as 4 or 5 separate verticals. We look at it as a one ecosystem that needs to keep growing larger. So the logic is straightforward here. Why? Because every machine that we install become a permanent ink and paper customer. The warranty on the machine that covering spare part, printhead, electronics is tied up to the use of our ink. Changing the ink supplier void the warranty. So beyond the warranty, there is again a second layer of stickiness is there, which is a color consistency. Digital textile printing business is completely make to order business, where designs are approved against specific color profiles and those color profiles are tied up to the specific ink. Once a customer starts printing, the only way they can fulfill the repeat order is with the consistent color and it's by staying with the same ink. So the paper may vary, but ink cannot, because the ink is what carries the color profile against which the design was originally approved, right? And beyond that, there is a third layer, which is a service. A technical complexity of these machines and the institutional knowledge that our service can build about each installation means that switching is operationally disruptive at any point of the machine's life. So when we install a machine, we are not booking a one-time sell. We are adding up to the recurring consumable base that compound over the years. Our installation base today stands at around 900 plus machines and roughly 50% of our FY26 revenue is recurring. That is from ink, sublimation paper and the spares. So now the second layer of compounding site inside the consumable business itself. Today, a meaningful portion of our ink we supply is imported and distributed. The margin of the distribution are reasonable, but there are not fair margins of manufacturing seats. As we transition the ink business from distribution to in-house manufacturing under the India brand, the margin profile of the recurring revenue base itself begin to improve. So the machine business compounds the consumable base and backward integration compound the margin on that base, and that is what the structure is. And this structure is for future sustainability as well. So if you see, let's quickly touch upon the capacity expansion that we did. On sublimation paper, we have already taken the capacity from roughly 1 crore meter a month to 2 crore plus meter a month. FY26 utilization on the expanded capacity was around 52%, which gives us a substantial headroom that we can grow this vertical without further capital deployment. Our ink, the plan in phase 1 is targeted for FY27. Takes in-house production to 150 ton a month with capex of around 40 to 45 crores. This phase replaces current import volume serving self-consumption and again a white labeling base, right? Phase 2 is targeted for FY28, takes total in-house capacity up to 500 tons a month with additional 20 to 25 CR of capex. The India merger adds 80 tons a month and we added further 270 ton incrementally. And phase 3 is a longer term target for 1000 tons a month across sublimation, reactive, dispersed, pigmenting. So importantly, the land for this we have secured is roughly around 3.5 times an existing facility footprint. So the runway for the expansion is already in place. The strategic rationale is threefold here. Number one, India today sources almost 100% of its ink from China, Japan and Europe. In-house manufacturing reduces that import dependence and insulates us from the currency and supply chain volatility. The second one is global brands are now diversifying away from China under the China plus one approach. And the meaningful share of that incremental textile manufacturing, we know that is being routed through India, which is directly expand our addressable market. And the third is ink is the highest margin category in our portfolio, so manufacturing rather than the distributing. It has the direct and the durable effect on the profitability as well. So with that context, let me turn to the performance of FY26. So revenue from operations for the full year was INR 301.55 crores. That is up 29.22% year-on-year. EBITDA stood at INR 46.98 crores at a margin of 15.58%. And the profit after tax was INR 31.16 crores at a margin of 10.33%. Recurring revenue from ink, sublimation paper, spare parts that contributed roughly 50.25% of our total revenue. So within the verticals, machine placement of the year came in at around 109 units. That is up 89 in the prior year. The headline unit growth looked moderate, but the revenue from this segment grew over 155 times year on year. That is driven by deliberated shift towards higher value and higher capacity machines. Ink volume, as reported, grew to 1,140 tons during the year. It is a volumetric growth of approximately 19%. However, this number understates the actual underlying consumption growth, and I would like to flag this clearly. As a part of deliberately strategy to deepen customer engagement around new machine placement, close to 45 to 50 ton of ink was bundled with machines during this year. The revenue and the volume from this bundled ink have not been reported within the ink vertical. So if we add this back and underlying ink consumption growth, it's a repeated basis comfortably north to 20%, which is metric we internally track most closely since it reflects the true compounding from the install base. Alongside this, average realization also declined during the year, which is second reason the volumetric growth is not fully visible into the reported financials. So on paper, we again delivered the strong volumetric growth, reaching to 11.69 crore meter. Although the financial impact was offset by the decline in realization, the realization decline was driven by reduce in the average GSM of sublimation paper used in printing, which came down from the 45 to 55 range in the prior year to closer to 35 GSM this year, as the customer mix shift towards lower GSM applications more. The fabric and the printing division performed well and contributing meaningful to overall throughput. So I would also like to address one operational item here, which is our operating cash flow. We reported negative operating cash flow for the year, and this requires some explanation. A majority of our vendor base qualify as MSME suppliers, and the regulatory framework governing MSME payment mandates settlement within 45 days. In FY26, we meaningfully scaled up volume with several of these vendors, where the majority of supply was previously imported under credit term existing well beyond 90 days. So this transaction created a timing-related pressures on working capital. Alongside this, the growing contribution of Konica Minolta's ink, which operates on the advance payment terms, added further to working capital needs. But I am pleased to share that collection have been strong in Q1 FY27 and the position has normalized now. To close, the way we think about it internally is this. We have an installed base that compounds the consumable business. We have a consumable business that is being backward integrated to improve margins. We have sublimation paper capacity that has just been doubled and has utilization headroom. And we have ink manufacturing capacity coming on the stream over the next 2 years that will structurally change the margin profile of our group. So each of these independently is in motion and they are all pulling in the same direction. We are at the early stage of what we believe is a multi-year transition in Indian textile printing industry. With that, I will hand it over for the question. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. We will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask the question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. First question is from the line of Arhan from Bastion Research. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, sir. My first question is on the bookkeeping side. As you already explained, the operating cash flow was very 35 crore in FY26 against the PAT of 31 crore. You also explained the MSME and Konica Minolta dynamics. But on a normalized basis going forward, what kind of cash conversion should we be looking at? And specifically with receivables nearly doubling YOY, can you give us a comfort that this is not a quality of receivables issue and a timing issue?
Right. So this is basically not there is not an issue of any customer specific concern. If you see the receivable is around 101 crore at the time that the year ended, right? That is because of the MSME compliance, and we are not coming under that category. So right now, if we see at the current positioning, the receivables are very strong right now, almost which the number that was 111 crore comes to almost 93 crore now, right? So it was just a matter of time, and due to the compliance issue, otherwise the receivables are normalized.
Okay, sir. Got it. And my second question is, you have flagged entry into adjacent categories of commercial printing, label printing,
right,
and textile packaging. How serious
right.
is this, and what's the rationale for entering these new versus deepening the core textile printing business for them?
Right. So if we see, then digital printing is not only limited to textile, right? And every segment, when like if we talk about the label printing or if we talk about the mica printing in every industry, when we are talking about the made to order process, not keeping a stock, or people are talking about the customization. So we think that in each and every industry, including textile, the digital printing is gonna be bigger, right? So this is in that context we take this baby step forward to moving in that direction of the commercial printing, and along with that, आपको ये पता है कि we are entering into ink manufacturing as well, right? So if we have the formulation capability for manufacturing the ink for the textile, the same formulation capability can be utilized for the commercial printer as well. So this is the first step. We have taken that initiative to move into that direction. If we get the feedback from the market, very positive and aggressive feedback, then we'll also start putting aggressive strategies into that field as well. So as the manufacturing capabilities lies with us, it can be used in any field of the digital printing, not limited to textile.
Okay, sir, got it. And just the last question is on the application side. If you were to step back and tell us where True Colors will be in the next 5 years, not in specific revenue numbers, but in terms of installed base, manufacturing footprint, vertical mix, and competitive positioning, what does that picture look like? And honestly, what are the 2 or 3 things that could go wrong that would prevent you from getting there?
Right. So if we see India is into currently a transition phase. Since last 3 to 4 decades, we were using conventional textile printing method, that is screen printing and the rotary printing, right? So it's been just the beginning. We are at around 7 to 8% of the total market share of that compared to the conventional printing. So next wave of printing expansion that is happening into digital, and India is currently depending for all the raw materials to our neighbor. So all the ink is imported, paper is imported. So as a True Colors, we are trying to build that ecosystem where this consumable is the part of the consumable should be available in India. If we say the market is going to be bigger in next 5 years, next 10 years, दूसरी भी चीजें conventional printing से digital printing में switch हो रही है. Then at the same time, to print a meter of fabric, you will need ink, you will need paper. And we want to build that infrastructure that India, उस growth के साथ India should be ready with the consumable requirements. We shouldn't be the import dependent only.
Okay, sir, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Ashnisha Jain, individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, sir. I am new to the company, so can you please walk me through how the revenue actually flows from a single machine installation over its life? How much consumables revenue does one installed machine generate over, say, 3 to 5 years? And how should we think about lifetime value per machine?
Okay. So, we have shared the complete sheet with you. Investor presentation is being shared with you, so you can get entire detail from that presentation. Meanwhile, let me just give you a brief idea that if you want to print a 1 meter of fabric, what you need is first is a machine, then is the ink, then a sublimation paper, and a service support. And as a True Colors ecosystem, we are providing this entire solution at a one stop. So once you install the machine, to print on that machine, you need a two consumable, that is paper and ink, and that's what we are providing. So this is a more like a recurring revenue business for us, that consumable business, and the service that we offer, it is again tied with the supply of the ink. So once as a customer you buy the machine, you stick with the company for the supply of the ink as well, and that is what the business model is.
All right, sir. Understood. So also the presentation mentions that 900 plus active installed machines and 50% plus recurring revenue share. So as this install base grows from 900 to 1200 or 1500 and beyond, how do you see the mix between transactional and recurring revenue evolving over the next 3 to 4 years? Is there a point at which consumables become structurally dominant?
So that point may come, but right now we are in very early stage of this transaction. अगर हम इंडिया में डिजिटल प्रिंटिंग के डोमिनेंस की बात करें, इट इज अराउंड 7 to 8%. अगर हम पूरे वर्ल्ड के पर्सपेक्टिव से अगर देखने जाए, यूरोप हैज शिफ्टेड टू ऑलमोस्ट 85 to 90% टू डिजिटल. चाइना ऑलमोस्ट मोर देन 40 to 50% into digital printing. So India is in very early stage. So for the next 5 to 10 years, if we see, then the volumetric growth in terms of machines will be there. Maybe it's a time dependent, it's a lumpy, that right now people are more focused towards the expansion and they are putting some machines. But yes, every machine that is being installed will generate the requirement of the consumables. And that is where the recurring revenue that comes from, right? So recurring revenue, आप इसको एक दूसरे कंटेक्स्ट में ऐसे भी समझ सकते हो कि if today we do not supply any machine, then also people will need that ink and paper from you on the regular basis, right? So the more number of machines that is being added into the system, the more recurring revenue will go up. But to comment on that when the recurring revenue volume will go extremely high, that may be a point we can discuss after 3 to 5 years, that this is the time that now recurring volume will go up. So that is one part. Another part of this mix is that in terms of consumable, what True Colors is trying to do, let's say we are jumping into ink manufacturing business, right? So that ink manufacturing facility will not only for our self-consumption, right? We will also white label this ink for India's others importer who import this ink and supply and distribute it across India. So in that sense, it will happen in future that for True Colors, the consumable business like ink, and if we expand our footprint to the paper business, then we can cross that benchmark and move far ahead with the consumable business in future.
All right, sir, understood. So my next few questions are on the ink business. So first, in the ink business, you plan on transitioning from distribution to manufacturing. Can you help us understand the margin uplift here, not in specific numbers, but directionally? How much of the gap between distribution and manufacturing margins do you expect to capture, and what is the realistic timeline for that to fully reflect on the P&L?
Right. So here, what infrastructure that we are building is in ink manufacturing. There are 2 to 3 things that we need to consider. Number one, it will improve the margin. That is one point. That right now it's a trading business. In trading business, we know that it's right now it's a healthier margin, but going forward, we see that the price fluctuation, the supply volatility, everything is in front of us right now. So in that sense, it will always help us in terms of the manufacturing. That will improve the margin. Second thing is it's about when we talk about the formulation control, ये हमें आने वाले टाइम में as I mentioned हम सिर्फ हमारे self consumption के लिए यूज नहीं करेंगे, but we'll also provide this ink to the Indian importer और पूरी वर्ल्ड के लिए it will be the China plus one जब पूरी दुनिया देख रही है. So this product we can offer to entire across the globe जहाँ digital textile printing हो रहा है, जहाँ लोग printing ink use कर रहे हैं. So this can be offered to them as well. So it creates a new opportunity line for us, जहाँ पे हम सिर्फ self consumption की बात ना करके we can fulfill that need for the nation as well. So that is the second part जहाँ पे grow होगा. Third is once we have the formulation control. So it is not only about the ink for the digital textile printing, we can produce ink for the digital printing in any category as well. So in that sense, this ink expansion, ink manufacturing business will gonna help us.
Alright, so got it. So last two questions. So you've committed roughly around 100 to 115 crores of total capex across the three phases of ink manufacturing. How do you think about the return of this investment, and what assumptions are you making on volume offtake, particularly in the phase 2 and phase 3 where capacity scales significantly beyond the current consumption?
Right. So as I already mentioned, we are not only talking about the self-consumption. It will be again, as I already told you, it will be again a white labeled product for the industry. Right now, India is alone. If we talk about the digital textile printing ink only, then India is currently importing around 12,000 ton ink every year. Every month, right? So based on that, over on next few years, ये जो ink का volume है, that is gonna increase over the year. So this is जो हम ink manufacturing की और जो volume की जो बात करते हैं, that is being served in the two phase. Number one, जो हमने कहा है कि self consumption. Number two, white label product. And number three is कि जहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं, not limited to digital textile printing. आज हम pigment ink की बात कर सकते हैं, solvent ink, eco solvent ink, UV ink. There are so many type of inks that is being imported, that is being produced की जिससे आज इंडिया की dependency neighbors पे है. So that all can be produced and that can be a combined as 1,000 ton per month capacity in next 3 years. 3 to 4 years, I would say.
Understood, sir. So my last question is a bit on the operational side. So in practice, have you actually seen customers attempt to switch in suppliers? What is the real world churn rate on your install base, and what typically happens when a customer tries to switch?
Right. So what happens when customers try to switch? Number one thing come into the picture is the services, because it is not more like a desktop printer that we have in our office की जहाँ पे हमने एक बार printer install कर लिया and then we don't need a support, और एक जो cartridges fill करते हैं वो आके आपको support देके जाए. यहाँ पे क्या होता है, every time fabric base change, मशीन इज टेक्निकली कुछ ना कुछ उनको अपग्रेडेशन चाहिए होते हैं, कोई ना कोई. इट मीन्स इट नीड अ कंप्लीट हैंड होल्डिंग. तो नंबर वन, वंस द कस्टमर ट्राई टू स्विच द ink, तो ये जो उनको जो एक सर्विस सपोर्ट होता है वो वहाँ पे बंद हो जाता है. सेकंड इज दिस अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ द स्पेयर पार्ट फॉर दैट मशीन. लाइक सम कस्टमर, आपने अगर एक हॉपटेक की प्रिंटर बाय की है, यू बॉट अ कोनिका मिनोल्टा, देन द ओनली चांस टू गेट द स्पेयर पार्ट इज फ्रॉम अस ओनली, राइट? The third thing is कि आपके जो प्रिंट हेड और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स पार्ट होते हैं, that is comes under the warranty, and once you change the ink, so warranty also get void for that for the electronics and the print head. So that gives the stickiness, and normally ये होता है कि almost 99% of your customers stay with you forever until and unless they change the machine, they bought a new machine and the expansion is with the other machine supplier. Then it happens that your ink gets changed. Otherwise, the stickiness is throughout the lifetime.
Yes, sir. Understood. That was perfect. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Madhur Rathi from Countercyclical PMS. Please go ahead.
Sir, what is the expectation for FY27 in terms of top line and EBITDA margin?
we expect to grow at around 20 to 22% over the medium term, and profitability growth should outpace the top line.
Okay. Sir, but last year our margins reduced from 18 to 15% EBITDA margin. So now this year again, can we expect it to go back to 18%?
Okay, so it was a mixed effect actually. If we see at the last year and this year, first thing is the machine vertical contributed very disproportionately. And number two, this year, as I mentioned earlier, that what we did is we bundled the machine with the ink supply. And due to that, around 45 to 50 ton of ink was not the part of the revenue in this financial year, or let's say this H2 that we supplied to the customer, right? So this is the mix that reflects on the EBITDA margin, that is around 15.6%, and which is just sustainable. So last year H2, when it was 17.5%, if you see, the contribution from the paper business was very disproportionate. The majority, almost we can say around 70% of the paper business was in H2, while the production was happened into H1. And that's why it shows the major jump into the EBITDA margin. Otherwise, as I normally say, this is the margin range that we are operating around 14 to 16%, which is a sustainable margin range. And as growing further, our paper manufacturing capacity got doubled. Our in-house manufacturing will start, so margin profile will improve over the course of time.
Understood, sir. Sir, but in the near term, we should expect between 14 to 16% or 18%?
For the EBITDA margin? For the near term, this is what we are doing, and it will improve over the course of time. So for the medium term, as I mentioned, it is normal margin that we are doing, that is this range. Otherwise, over the course of time, it will improve.
Understood, sir. Sir, now I'm new to the company, so sir, please just your explanation is required. That sir, we have 4 divisions. One is the one is the digital printers, for which we are exclusive distributors of some 4-5 principals.
Right.
Is that understanding correct, sir?
Right, correct.
Okay, and second is the paper, sublimation paper, which is a consumable, which we make ourselves. Ink
right.
We are currently trading, but we soon plan to start manufacturing on our own.
Right.
And sir, fourth is?
And fourth is our printing, fabric supply business.
Okay, sir, so that is a job work business.
That is a job work and fabric supply. So it's a fabric supply.
So basically, it is just the customer is giving us the fabric and we are printing and give it back, or we just take orders and buy raw material fabric from elsewhere and print it and give the end product?
Yeah. So if you see the revenue split is 50/50. 50% is the customer giving you the fabric and you are printing for them, number one. And 50% is the revenue that you are buying the fabric, source the fabric, and on your brand name you are providing that printed fabric or value-added fabric to the customer. So that both services are there.
Understood, sir. And sir, in this digital ink, I understand, sir, this is a company, Jacinth Dye Stuff, which they are manufacturing inks and printer both in, digital inks and digital printer in India?
So right now, very chemical, they are mostly into the dyes that being supplied to the mills for conventional printing and all stuff. And otherwise, regarding to import or manufacturing, we are not much sure right now.
Sir, and this rotary printing, sir, is the rotary printing sector in India, it is declining, or it is stagnant, or it is still growing?
So right now, digital की जो इंडिया में जो शुरुआत हुई थी, that was started in 2013. At that time, we were doing around 3 crore meter a year. जबकि अब हम रोटरी प्रिंटिंग की बात करें ना, it's been 5 to 6 decades इंडिया में रोटरी प्रिंट हो रहा है. So रोटरी प्रिंटिंग का वॉल्यूम होगा करीबन 2400 से 2600 करोड़ मीटर एनुअली इंडिया में, राइट? बट नाउ जो भी नया जो कैपेसिटी एनहांसमेंट होता है, बिकॉज डिजिटल प्रिंटिंग टेक्नोलॉजी के पास उनके एड ऑन एडवांटेजेस है, जैसे कि यहाँ पे प्रोसेस बहुत फास्ट है. एक सैंपल के लिए जहाँ पे रोटरी प्रिंटिंग में कुछ वीक्स लगते हैं, वो चीज यहाँ पे कुछ घंटे में हो जाती है. सेकंड चीज कि यहाँ पे आप 1 मीटर प्रिंट करें, 1000 मीटर प्रिंट करें, कॉस्टिंग रिमेन्स द सेम। वाइल जब आप रोटरी या कन्वेंशनल प्रिंटिंग की बात करते हैं हम, तब वहाँ पे हमें उसके लिए स्क्रीन डेवलप करनी पड़ती है, कलर डेवलप करने पड़ते हैं। जो सस्टेनेबिलिटी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बात करें तो द यूसेज ऑफ वाटर, तो ये सारे जितने भी जो आज के टाइम की जो रिक्वायरमेंट है, जहाँ पे हम सस्टेनेबिलिटी की बात करते हैं, मेक टू ऑर्डर की बात करते हैं, हम लोअर एमओक्यू की बात करते हैं, एट दैट टाइम जो प्रिंटिंग में जो आज आपको जो फेवरेबल प्रिंटिंग सॉल्यूशन है, दैट इज द डिजिटल प्रिंटिंग ओनली। तो जो नए जो एक्सपेंशन हो रहे हैं वो डिजिटल प्रिंटिंग में हो रहे हैं। जो कन्वेंशनल प्रिंटिंग मशीन चला रहे, दे आर एडिंग द कैपेसिटी इनटू डिजिटल टेक्सटाइल प्रिंटिंग। तो इन फ्यूचर वी आर होपिंग कि जैसे मैंने अभी एक क्वेश्चन को आंसर किया था कि अगर हम देखें कि चाइना हैज शिफ्टेड देमसेल्फ, यूरोप ने अपने आप को पूरा डिजिटली शिफ्ट कर लिया है, तो नेक्स्ट वेव ऑफ एक्सपेंशन जो होने इनटू टेक्सटाइल प्रिंटिंग, दैट देयर इज मोर प्रोबेबली टुवर्ड डिजिटल ओनली।
सर तो बट आपकी प्रेजेंटेशन में तो सर दिया है कि जो रोटरी प्रिंटिंग भी 4% CAGR से ग्रो करने की संभावना है FY30 तक, तो मतलब कि दे आर बोथ ग्रोइंग साइड बाय साइड।
तो 4% से ग्रो होने की संभावना को आप इस तरीके से देखो कि आज आप एक रोटरी मशीन चला रहे हो, राइट, एंड यू आर हैविंग दी ऑर्डर फ्रॉम दी फिक्स कस्टमर्स। अब रोटरी प्रिंटिंग जो है कंपैरेटिवली डिजिटल प्रिंटिंग से प्रिंटिंग सॉल्यूशन इन टर्म्स ऑफ प्राइस सस्ता होता है। तो जहाँ पे हम वॉल्यूम पे बात करते हैं वहाँ पे रोटरी प्रिंटिंग इज मोर फेवरेबल। तो ऑलरेडी इफ यू आर प्रिंटर जहाँ पे आपकी एक मशीन लगी हुई है, द नेक्स्ट एक्सपेंशन यू डू इनटू डिजिटल एंड यू डू इनटू रोटरी एज वेल। तो अगर आप रोटरी में अगर कुछ एक्सपेंड कर रहे हो, देन यू नीड टू स्टार्ट विद ऑलमोस्ट 50,000 मीटर और 70,000 मीटर पर मशीन, जहाँ पे आप डिजिटल में लेट्स से कि आप 3,000 या 5,000 मीटर पर डे की मशीन से भी स्टार्ट कर सकते हो। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि वो ग्रो नहीं होगा, बट जब आप सोच रहे हो कि जो फास्ट जो ग्रो हो रहा है या नेक्स्ट जो कैपेसिटी का, जहाँ पे ऐसा हो रहा है कि अगर 100 मीटर प्रिंट होना है आने वाले टाइम में, इट इज द चांसेस कि 80 मीटर जो है वो डिजिटल की डायरेक्शन में हो, 20 मीटर कन्वेंशनल प्रिंटिंग में हो, अभी वो बंद नहीं होना।
सर ये हमारा एम्प्लॉय एक्सपेंस सर लगभग ऑलमोस्ट डबल हो गया ईयर ऑन ईयर, करीब 11 करोड़ से 19 करोड़ के ऊपर, जबकि रेवेन्यू तो हमारा ज्यादा बढ़ा नहीं है। ईयर ऑन ईयर 140 करोड़ से 150 करोड़ हुआ है H2 में। तो सर इतना इंक्रीज होने का क्या कारण है, और सर गोइंग फॉरवर्ड ये हाउ डू यू सी दिस?
राइट, तो इसके पीछे दो मेजर रीजन है। एक रीजन ये है कि जो हमने हमारी जो पूरे साल में पिछले 1.5-2 साल में जो भी हमने हमारा जो कैपेसिटी एक्सपेंशन किया है, दैट इज प्रिंटिंग बिजनेस। और प्रिंटिंग बिजनेस जो है दैट इज मैन पावर एफिशिएंट बिजनेस। वहाँ पे लोग कंपैरेटिवली ज्यादा लगते हैं, राइट, इट्स अ मोर काइंड ऑफ अ मेन प्रॉफिट। So that's why you see the growth in the revenue as well, or growth in the manpower or your salary as well, or number के form में भी। सेकेंड जो रीजन है वो ये है कि हम अभी जो आने वाले टाइम में जो हम खुद को जो प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं फॉर द इंक एक्सपेंशन, फॉर द पेपर एक्सपेंशन, फॉर आवर कमर्शियल प्रिंटिंग बिजनेस, फॉर आवर हमारा जो फैब्रिक का जो बिजनेस है, उस बिजनेस को आप देखोगे कि हमने 50-50, इट वॉज स्टार्टेड विद द जॉब वर्क ओनली, इट इज नाउ 50-50, 50% इज द जॉब वर्क, 50% ऑफ द ट्रेडिंग, राइट। सो वी आर एक्सपांडिंग दैट फील्ड एज वेल। तो ये सारे जो एक्सपेंशन है उसके लिए इट्स टाइम ऑफ अ टीम बिल्डिंग। ये हमने जब ये साल जब शुरू हुआ था हमारा H1, उस टाइम पे दैट टाइम वी डिस्कस कि हम इस डायरेक्शन में आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। सो इट इज अ टीम बिल्डिंग अप्रोच राइट नाउ, जिसको हम आने वाले टाइम के लिए खुद को प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं।
Thank you. Madhur, I'll request you to come back for a follow-up question, please. Next question is from the line of Saurabh Vyas from Systematics. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, Saurabh.
Hi, sir. Congrats on a good set of numbers. So,
thank you so much.
Just wanted to have some questions like regarding the machine realization rate. I can see that we have booked around 60 crores in this financial year itself, and on a base of 109 machines. So roughly the average comes around 55 lakhs per machine. But since you have given a guidance that we have bundled the ink business into this, so is it fair to assume that another set of 5 to 6 crores roughly is because of the ink bundling, or do we have gained any realization per machine in this year itself? So on that base.
So you can consider that as a realization of the machine itself, either we can consider that part into the machine, either way we can contribute that part to the ink. So over the course of time, for machine for us, वो हमारे लिए एक वन टाइम इंस्टॉलेशन के फॉर्म में काम करता है, जो कि आने वाले टाइम में इट विल एनहांस द कैपेबिलिटी ऑफ द कंज्यूमेबल, राइट? अब हमें ऐसा लग रहा है कि ईयर ऑन ईयर जो मशीन का जो रियलाइजेशन है दैट मे वेरी, क्योंकि आपने देखा होगा कि इफ यू कंपेयर इट विद द लास्ट ईयर देन इट वाज रफली अराउंड 25 to 25 lakhs, 27 lakhs के आसपास था. So that realization may vary, but the ink that we bundled and the consumption that increased due to that will gonna reflect in terms of ink revenue in upcoming year. So that what we should take out of it.
Got it, sir. So on a year-on-year basis, what is the average realization that we can actually at least have a view about this machines or that we will be selling? Or rough estimates will be also good for us.
So it is very hard to give the rough estimation as well, क्योंकि जो entry level के machine होते हैं that is starting from almost 15 to 20 lakh per machine से लेके हमारे पास जो sublimation की बात करें तो it goes up to 50 lakhs. If we talk about the reactive printers, then they're starting from almost 60-70 lakhs and then go up to 12-13 crore. So that kind of variation is there. But at the end of the day, what as a company we internally track is how much meter that machine is going to produce during that particular year or over the year of time, and in that production, what will be the realization for our consumables, right? So that is what makes more important. So it is little bit difficult to say that this will be the realization for especially in the case of machine, because it's very a lot.
Got it, sir. No worries. My second question is regarding the ink business. We have given a guidance that we will be doing a 150 tons per month production starting FY27. So what will be the number of machines sold? What will be the number of total base of the machine that we will be forecasting for to have this kind of a proper demand for this type of.
So if we say that we are building a manufacturing capability which is for two purposes. One purpose, it will solve our in-house consumption. That is roughly around 100 ton this year. Maybe from next year it should be around 110, 115 ton on average for the average throughout the year, right? So that is what the internal self-consumption is. And second is the white label product that we need to supply to the Indian importers who are importing ink and the same line of distribution. So it will not only serve us for our self-consumption, but at the same time it will serve for others as well. So that's how it will expand.
Got it. And my last question is, if I could just use it in. The geographical revenue mix that I can see in the paper, we still are very Gujarat heavy dominant as of now. So is it because the state has the dominance of the textile industry, or we are actually trying to expand our portfolio into the other geographical mix of India, or maybe?
So if you see in the textile perspective, then we all know that Surat is the hub of the textiles. Right after Ludhiana into digital specially, and then after Maharashtra. So if we talk about the Maharashtra, then it is more about the trading of the business from where all the Indian consumers source their fabric and export as well from the Bombay and Delhi. Otherwise, if we talk about the manufacturing, then it is over into Surat mainly, then Ahmedabad, and then Ludhiana. So that's why where we are selling the printers, at the same position, with the same customer, we are going to sell ink and paper, right? So as it is a recurring business, so जहाँ पे आपने machine supply की है, वहीं पे आपका recurring business over the course of time बढ़ता रहेगा. If we talk about our fabric business, then fabric business का जो concentration है, that is more into Maharashtra, because वो एक hub है पूरे India के लिए for trading of the fabric. And apart from that, we are also moving in the direction कि जहाँ पे हम fabric export self-export करें. To give you a rough idea, around 6% of the revenue into our fabric business, that is coming from the direct export only. So So that's how it's concentrated in that region. But जब आप उसको overall as a group level पे देखोगे, you will always find Gujarat as a highly concentrated part because supplying the machine and the recurring business ink and paper that will come out from it, along with the spare part as well.
Fair enough, sir. Fair enough. So last question from my side. The CapEx that we have been given the guidance of roughly around 110 crore rupees. How are we planning to fund it? Like from the debt route or will be releasing the equity or from the internal accrual?
So for our ink expansion, where in the first phase we are going to invest around 40 to 45 crore, and in the next year it is around 25 crores amount. So 25% of the total capex that will be done by the internal accrual, and 75% will go with the bank debt.
Got it. Thank you so much, sir, and wish you luck for the
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Mehul from 40 Cents. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Hello, Mehul ji.
Sir, मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ, आ रही है. You are audible.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, sir. So this Inkia brand is owned by us, or it's I'm new to the company, so I'm just asking this question.
So Inkia brand is Inkia Inc. Private Limited is the entity that we have proposed the merger with it, and we got the approval from the BSE as well, and now we are going with the NCLT. So going forward, whatever the ink that we'll produce, we'll manufacture in India, either it be for the textile or for the any other application into digital printing. It will be under the brand name of Inkia.
Okay, so far जो हम इंक बेच रहे थे इससे पहले वो चाइना से सोर्स हो रही थी, राइट?
Yes, for China and Japan, yeah.
और अभी हम लोग ये Inkia is an Indian company,
right?
So how confident are we? How much sure are we that customers will be okay with this Indian ink compared to foreign ink?
Right. So Inkia is serving the customers since last 2 years. Majorly 3 years we can say. 3 years.
Okay.
So providing ink to the customer, but into the small volume. In last financial year, if we talk, then they produce around 80 ton inks per month, and in the two colors we use around 460 ton ink from Inkia, and other white label product they produce is somewhere 50%, 60% is white label to others. So it's been 2 years of a journey, 3 years of the product supply, and it's a consistent, and customer has already started accepting that ink. Because क्या होता है कि जब आप ink import करते हो, number one you need to import in bulk, right? आपको यहाँ पे 2 से 3 महीने का you try to keep a stock. Otherwise क्या होता है, इसका 4 color, शान, magenta, yellow, black. आज एक कलर खत्म हो गया, कल दूसरा खत्म हो गया, फिर ट्रांजेक्शन में आने में टाइम लग गया. So multiple things can happen. So you generally used to keep a stock. So once customers started buying ink from Inkia, locally buy करने से उनको ये होता है, there is no worry about keeping a stock of ink. Second, ये होता है कि once they import the ink, they need to pay GST upfront on the port. तो वहाँ पे उनका एक पैसा फंस जाता है. Then second is the 7.8% of the duty they need to pay upfront, and the logistic charges as well. और अभी अगर current scenario में बात करें, then dollar price fluctuation. So this all is favorable if there is availability in India, right? So that's why ये acceptance जो है वो पिछले 2 साल 3 साल से already people have started using this ink as a white label product. क्योंकि चाइना से भी जो आता था ना, वो आप ही के ब्रांड नेम से आता. It's a white labeled only. So for the end user, उनके लिए वो फर्क नहीं पड़ता है कि वो इंक इंडिया में बनी है या चाइना में बनी है या जापान में बनी है. उनके लिए ये है कि ये जो भी ब्रांड से आप मशीन बेच रहे हो, उसी ब्रांड से आप इंक बेचते हो. So it's your brand, your product. It's the only thing कि आप वो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग चाइना में होता था, इंडिया में हो रहा है.
हाँ सर, लेकिन हम लोग तो वी आर प्रोवाइडिंग मशीन्स बाय मिनोल्टा एंड अदर कंपनीज, so we are not having any machine production of our own. So how are you saying that आपका मशीन और आपकी इंक, मतलब I am not able to understand this.
तो क्या होता है कि आप मशीन एज अ OEM के पास से आपने एक मशीन यहाँ पे प्रेफर किया है.
हाँ.
नाउ दैट मशीन इंस्टॉल करने के लिए वी हैव अ टीम ऑफ 60+ इंजीनियर इन हाउस. तो मशीन में आपको कंटिन्यूसली एक हैंड होल्डिंग चाहिए होती है. इट इज नॉट लाइक अ डेस्कटॉप प्रिंटर दैट वी हैव इन आवर ऑफिस कि हमने मंगाया, ओपन किया और प्लग एंड प्ले कर दिया, राइट. तो ये पूरा इसका इंस्टॉलेशन होता है, उसका कलर प्रोफाइलिंग होता है. तो इन सारी चीजों के लिए आपको जो रिजल्ट चाहिए उसके लिए यू नीड अ डेली सपोर्ट. तो
मैं समझ गया.
हाँ.
नहीं, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि कंपैटिबिलिटी ऑफ दिस इंक विच इज ओनली 2 years टेस्टेड, मतलब जो हमने सिर्फ 2 साल में टेस्ट किया है, और ये जो मशीन्स हैं जो आपके कस्टमर कितने सालों से यूज कर रहे हैं और इतनी एक्सपेंसिव मशीन्स हैं,
राइट.
So what is the compatibility of the new ink which we are producing, manufacturing?
सर कंपेटेबिलिटी में क्या होता है कि आज आपने मान लो कि कोई इंक आप यूज कर रहे हो जो चाइना से बन के आ रही थी, एंड द डे यू चेंज द इंक ना, तो उसमें अगर कंपेटेबिलिटी नहीं है ना, तो वेरी सेकंड डे यू कम टू नो कि आपके कलर प्रोफाइलिंग चेंज हो गए. विद इन अ वीक यू कम टू नो कि अब आपके प्रिंट हेड में वो इंक चल नहीं रही है. विद इन अ ईयर यू कम टू नो कि यार मेरे पास तो ये मशीन में पहले इतनी प्रोडक्शन आती थी, अब इतनी प्रोडक्शन आती है. इसमें टू ट्राई एंड टेस्ट द इंक ऑलमोस्ट a day or a week is a more than sufficient time कि ये इंक चलेगी या नहीं चलेगी, बिकॉज इट्स बैच कंसिस्टेंसी, सप्लाई कंसिस्टेंसी, ये सारी चीजें उसके अंदर रोल प्ले कर लेती है. एंड 2 साल की जो जर्नी है, इट इज नॉट द जर्नी ऑफ कंपेटेबिलिटी टेस्ट. कंपेटेबिलिटी टेस्ट की जर्नी 4 से 5 साल की रही हुई है. दिस इज द जर्नी जहाँ पे कंटिन्यूस मार्केट में ये इंक एज अ व्हाइट लेबल प्रोडक्ट के तौर पे जा रही है. ऑलमोस्ट हम ये कह सकते हैं कि लगभग 2 से 2,500 टन इंक ऑलरेडी कंज्यूम हो चुकी है थ्रू आउट दिस टाइम. तो कंपेटेबिलिटी को लेके इसलिए कोई क्वेश्चन मार्क नहीं है.
थैंक यू. Mehul, I'll request to come back for a follow-up question. I request to all the participants, kindly limit yourself to 2 questions per participant and rejoin for a follow-up. Next question is from the line of Harshit from Robo Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, Harshit.
Thank you for the opportunity. Am I audible?
Yes, Harshit ji.
Right. So sir, 150 crores का जो ये साल हमारा रिकरिंग रेवेन्यू था, राइट?
हाँ.
तो आप उसमें स्प्लिट बता सकते हो इंक से कितना है, तो सब्लिमेशन एंड स्पेयर पार्ट से? If you have
74. Yes, it is already mentioned in the presentation. However, 74 point something was the crore, 74 crore revenue coming from the ink. 66 crore that was the revenue that came from the paper, and 10 crore was the revenue that came from the spare part, 10.5. And so I'm just missing the decimal, otherwise this is the revenue split.
Right. And sir, we said that the average realization on sublimation paper because of the GSM, right, has fallen. So we have a capacity of 2 crore, right? So what is the peak revenue we can do in sublimation paper?
So let's say right now, the last year, what the realization we got was the 5.6 rupees per meter. So based on that, you get the idea that what is the peak revenue that we can achieve if we fully utilize that capacity. It is just being added as 3-4 months before. It was added earlier, but we started to get the output from that machine since last 3 months.
Correct, sir. Understood. And sir, now that we are doing a huge capex of 110 crores in ink, right? So can you please help us understand कि वो 1000 tons per month है, right? तो उससे कितना revenue हमारा आ सकता है? Like what are the projects?
Yeah, so revenue will be the mixed effect. We can produce multiple type of inks in that particular plant. Sublimation ink, reactive ink, pigment ink, solvent, eco-solvent, UV ink, so many kind of applications can be covered. But if we talk about the realization, then we can assume around, let's say, 200 rupees to 300 rupees per liter. That can be the range of that realization, and based on that, we can consider the revenue that can come out from that project. So it will be the mix of the product, I will say, and mostly it will be the manufacturing setup, and mostly it will be the white label. So this is the range that we are hoping to achieve in next few years.
Right. And the margin profile for both sublimation and ink is around 15%, or do they have different margin profiles?
So right now, what margin profile that we have shown you is collectively at a group level. So overall EBITDA and PAT margin we have shown. Because what happened that each of divisions, we have the different margin profiles, and all the divisions have the different strategic roles. Right? So it is when we talk about the ecosystem, it is true that we track our margin internally by division, but at the what we have offered is on the consolidated level.
Right. So still, if you could give a range, as in कि sublimation का इतना होता है, ink का इतना होता है. So just a broad range. That's all.
It is, see, the dynamics differs, right? Because sometimes what happens that you take some strategic call, you bundle, as I mentioned, you bundle machine with your ink. Sometimes you provide that kind of solution. Sometimes there is some higher capacity of the machine is there. So at that time you consider the what will be the consumption. So based on the consumption that you take the favor and you play with that margin profile. But overall, when we see it as a broader level, I guess we need to see it as an ecosystem level. Okay. So that's what we have provided is the EBITDA and PAT at the consolidated level. Individually, particular product wise, it is little bit difficult, and it is also the competitive sensitive product as well.
Thank you. Harshit, I'll request to come back. Participants kindly limit yourself to 2 questions per participant. Next question is from the line of Disha from Sapphire Capital Partners. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah, am I audible, sir?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, sir, so much. Thank you so much, sir, for this opportunity. So, firstly, on this ink business expansion, this phase 1, when do we expect this to come online?
So, this phase should be, production should start by the end of the year. And maybe we can have the realization of that into the next financial year.
Okay. And sir, this receivables that you mentioned, we've seen a sharp increase, and you explained why, but how much of this has been recovered in April?
So, it was, let's say, 111 crore as per books at the end of the 31st March, right? And if we talk as on today, it is around 93 crores. So that is the amount that you can consider how much it's recovered.
Right. And what is the working capital that we're targeting for this entire year, FY27?
So working capital limit that we are using from bank is 40 crores.
No, working capital days, what is the target for that?
For this year?
Right. Yeah.
That I may work again on it. We are right now, what we are doing is we are trying to get more optimization into that number. However, again, a strategic call, sometimes supply of the machine varies, sometimes the consumable business goes up. So it depends on the time to time, but the overall matrix, if you say, we are very much focused and into the direction for the AR as well. So.
Okay. So with this ink business, with the expansions will effectively be substituting imports, what sort of additional margin benefits can we see from this?
Yeah, margin benefits will be there. It will depend on the type of the ink that we are producing, and the second is the volume, that the production capacity that we'll get over the years. Like in the very first year, or let's say in the beginning of the 6 months, if we consider that a 60% or the 70% utilization of the plant, the margin will differ. If we say 80% of the utilization of the plant, margin will differ. If we say we are producing this much of the sublimation ink, this much of the reactive ink, depending on the production of the product, depending on the production of the volume, margin will differ. But yeah, it is definitely going to improve.
So at optimal utilization, will it be possible for you to put a number as to what sort of increase can we see in margin?
So let us do that. We right now we are more focused onto the execution part. The number that we are calculating right now is in proportionate with the project cost and the volume that we are going to achieve. So internally we are working on it, but right now to comment on the specific margin amount is little bit difficult for us. So let us start with the plant oil operation. Let us start the production first, and in the later stage we'll discuss on the margin as well.
Okay. Fair enough, sir. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from line of Naveen, from individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity, sir.
Thank you.
In sublimation paper, our actual value addition is the coating.
Right.
Any reduction in GSM, is there any impact on the margins? I understand on the revenue there will be, but is the margin also impacted in any way?
So what happens when your GSM goes lower, at that time your raw material procurement also cost goes lower. So eventually it doesn't affect much on your margin level.
Okay. Got it.
Because earlier you used to buy 45 GSM paper, now you are buying 30 GSM paper, so the margin remains the same.
Got it. And in our new install base, we have started selling higher throughput machines which are more productive. So will the consumable intensity significantly be different than the older machines?
I didn't get your question.
I mean the consumption of ink because they they print at a higher speed.
Right. Yes. So it is on the meter only, right? So once your meter capacity gets enhanced, the consumable requirement goes up. So the consumable ink consumption gets increased over the time.
Okay. And out of the total install base of 900 machines, how many of our customers continue to buy from us?
So in terms of ink, as I mentioned, that ink is a sticky product. Customer, generally 99% of the customers, the day they buy machine, they use your ink only. That is not the case with the paper. Paper is the open market because it works as a carrier.
Okay.
Right? In terms of paper, if we say, then what we are right now, till last year, we were producing around 10 to 12 crore meter of paper per year. Where our installed base was using around 22 to 24 crore meter paper. So we were having that gap with us, and that's why we put one more machine to enhance the capacity to cater our install base.
Understood.
Got the idea? Yeah.
Yes. So last question from my end. We are starting the commercial printing vertical, the new vertical. Will it involve any additional investment, or are we going to use the existing whatever existing infrastructure we have for that?
So what for the commercial printing, it is in very early stage. Okay. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to enter in the field by our trading sector. So whatever the machine requirement, we'll bring the machine and we'll sell it to customers. So it is a start opening it as a distribution business. So we'll not require any kind of further or additional capex into that. But at the same time, as you know that we are going to be the ink manufacturer. Over the course of time, these printers will require ink. This entire network requires ink, and they are right now import dependent, right? So that will open a door for you in both the direction, not only the supply of the commercial printing, but printing machines, but also will open the direction for the ink business. So also not limited to the self-consumption, but again a white label product. So over the years, when India will shift from in all the applications, जहाँ पे वो shift आएगा, so you as a company will project yourself as a digital printing ecosystem, not limited to textile. Because if you have the formulation capability, if you have the manufacturing capability, there will not be any reason to hold yourself. So that's why we have started to taking that baby step into that direction as well, कि जहाँ पे हम trading से वो चीज की शुरुआत करें, and then we get ourselves converted into manufacturing. Is that kind of response that we get from market?
Will it involve any service layer like our fabric printing vertical?
Yes, it will. It required a team of a service engineer. Right now, we have not added any additional resources into it. What we are doing is we are right now evaluating, we are taking some distribution shift, we will participate into some exhibitions. Sales channel has been developed for it, and over the course of time, as we get some installation in our hand, we will start to build a team for it as well.
Thank you, sir. That's all from my end.
Yeah.
And congratulations on a good set of numbers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I request all the participants, kindly limit yourself to 2 questions per participant. Next question is from the line of Vikas, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yes, hello sir.
Hello, Vikas.
सर मैंने ये पूछना था, जैसे अभी इस साल रेवेन्यू आपका है 300 करोड़।
Vikas, sorry to interrupt you. Your audio is not clear. Can you speak through the handset?
ओके सर। अभी आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, thank you.
जी.
सर आई एम ऑडिबल?
Yeah, you are audible. Go ahead.
सर मैंने ये पूछना था, इस साल हमने 300 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू करा, तो अगले 4-5 साल और कहाँ को देखते हैं कि नंबर मिलेंगे कुछ 500 1500 करोड़ या 1200 करोड़ समथिंग लाइक दैट?
राइट. सो
रेवेन्यू प्रॉफिट दोनों सर.
तो रेवेन्यू ग्रोथ जो आपने जो देखा हुआ है, हमें पिछले जो आपके पास हमारे 3 साल 4 साल के जो रिकॉर्ड्स है, सो वी आर ग्रोइंग आवरसेल्फ. India is growing into the field of digital textile printing. At the same time, we are also trying to build an ecosystem. कि जहाँ पे आज जो हमारी कंज्यूमेबल को लेके जो नेबर्स पे या यूरोप पे या जापान पे जो डिपेंडेंसी है, उस डिपेंडेंसी को कम किया जाए. तो नेचुरली जो टेक्नोलॉजी ग्रो होगी, एडॉप्शन और बढ़ेगा. इट इज मोर काइंड ऑफ अ डिस्ट्रप्शन. जहाँ पे एक सालों से एक टेक्नोलॉजी चलती आ रही थी प्रिंटिंग के लिए, डिजिटल कम एज अ डिस्ट्रप्शन. सो वहाँ पे विल मोर फोकस टुवर्ड्स द एग्जीक्यूशन एंड टू बिल्ड द कैपेबिलिटी for manufacturing the consumable. That will be our core focus area for upcoming next 3 to 5 years. And revenue number will reflect of that approach and that execution over the years. So that
जैसे 30-40%, 50% के अगर कुछ तो होगी.
सर इंटरनली जो हम प्लान करते हैं, दैट इज फॉर नेक्स्ट 3 months, नेक्स्ट फॉर 6 months, नेक्स्ट 12 months, व्हाट वी वांट टू डू, व्हाट वी वांट टू अचीव. आप देखोगे कि पिछले 3 साल में ही इतने ज्यादा चेंजेस आए हैं, इतनी ज्यादा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बिल्ड हुआ है. जहां हम 4 करोड़ मीटर पेपर प्रोड्यूस करने की कैपेबिलिटी रखते थे, उसको हमने 10 करोड़ और वहां से आज हम 24 करोड़ मीटर से बात कर रहे हैं. तो दैट्स हाउ एवरीथिंग इज ग्रोइंग. एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट ग्रोथ हम आने वाले टाइम में, मैंने जैसे कहा ना कि इंडिया इज ग्रोइंग इनटू दिस फील्ड. जो प्रिंटिंग का जो प्रपोर्शन है वो डिजिटल प्रिंटिंग में बढ़ता जाएगा. एंड आवर फोकस विल बी कि हम उस रिकरिंग रेवेन्यू में वो जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में है उसको बिल्ड करने में हम कहाँ हमारा कंट्रीब्यूशन कर सकते हैं. दैट विल बी द ओनली प्रोजेक्शन ओवर द इयर्स.
ओके सर. चलो ये पूछना था, जैसे हमारे जैसे जो भी कंपटीटर होंगे सर, ठीक है सर, तो हम उनको कैसे टक्कर देंगे इन ऑल फील्ड, जैसे जो भी है हमारे, कि हम उनसे कैसे एज लेंगे?
तो उसमें ऐसे कि द नंबर 1 की यहाँ पे व्हेन वी हैव 3 divisions, राइट. 1 इज अ मशीन, कि जहाँ पे आपके पास द टाइप ऑफ मशीन दैट यू ऑफर्ड, द टेक्नोलॉजी दैट यू ऑफर्ड, इट इज मोर रिलेटेड टू योर सर्विस नेटवर्क. So if you are focusing on your services, your machine is definitely gonna sell into the market. जैसे आपने मशीन सेल कर रहे हो, your consumable is your बाय प्रोडक्ट, वो उसके पैरेलली वो जाने ही जाना है. एंड जब हम प्रिंटिंग बिजनेस की बात करते हैं, इट इज ए ह्यूज मार्केट. यू नो कि टेक्सटाइल इंडिया में लगभग 7-7.5 हजार करोड़ मीटर कंज्यूम होता है हर साल. So that is a consumer market जहाँ पे बहुत सारे products. So how do you develop your product? हमारे लिए ये हो सकता है आने वाले टाइम में कि हम जो कंज्यूमेबल जो हमारे बिजनेस है, पहले तो हम इंस्टॉल बेस से कंज्यूमेबल में जा रहे हैं, कंज्यूमेबल को बैकवर्ड इंटीग्रेट करके मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की डायरेक्शन में बात कर रहे हैं कि दैट इज द बैकवर्ड इंटीग्रेशन. So we'll try to make ourselves strong into that position.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Harkirat Singh, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. My first question is regarding the ink manufacturing. So the raw material that's required for the ink manufacturing, so you will be sourcing from it from China or Japan, or it's available in India?
So both the things are there. Some of the thing it is mainly from India, and some of the material you can also it's two options are available. Either go with India, either go with China. So depending on the volume, अगर मान लो किसी raw material के लिए if you don't have volume, you need to go to China. If you have volume, then India can also produce all the chemicals and other dye stuff are possible to source from India as well.
Okay. And second thing is we are selling machines from 4 to 5 brands. So will these brands allow us to sell inks manufactured by us?
Right.
It
So क्या होता है? Yeah.
Also.
So when we talk about the जैसे हम एक example लेके बात करते हैं, we are importing machine from China and we are importing ink from China as well, right? So machine जो हम लेते हैं, that is from a company named Hoptech. Hoptech make machines not only for digital textiles, they are making for digital printing. फिर चाहे आपका माइका प्रिंट होना हो, चाहे आपका टेक्सटाइल प्रिंट होना हो, चाहे आपका फ्लैक्स बैनर प्रिंट हो रहा, so they are focused into machine manufacturing. Ink manufacturer are different, जहाँ से हम ink procure करते हैं, and that ink that we import या इंडिया में जो भी importers ink import करते हैं, that is by the brand name of True Colors या जो जिनका अपना ब्रांड है, right? So सारे white labeled करते हैं, so it is not tied with the machine supplier. So they are working as a OEM, they are using their own brand, they are supplying the machines and then business is done. Now you as a service provider, क्योंकि आपके customers को it need a complete hand holding, उनको time to time service चाहिए, उनको hand holding चाहिए, उनको part के replacement चाहिए, तो आप उनको ये additional ये service provide कर रहे हो through your ink supply.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my last question is regarding the trade receivables. The trade receivables as on 31st March is around 111 crores. And you said that right now you have recovered around 15 or 18 crores, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you tell us what's your trade receivable period, like within 45 days or 60 or 90 days?
So our general trade receivable period is 90 to 120 days. But normally what we received is around in this range only. So this time due to as I already mentioned, there is the number one, this trade receivable is the reflection of the revenue that we did in that 3 months. The second is the machine that we have provided some credit limit on, and the third thing is due to the MSME compliances and some payments get staged. But then again, as I mentioned, it gets recovered. So now the situation is normalized. So if we consider the 3 months of revenue period and let's consider 80 crores, so it is more or less similar to that only.
So what amount of money is locked in this kind of a working capital?
So working capital cycles in like what we need to make payment is around 45, normal payment terms is around 16 to 90 days. For MSME suppliers, it is also mandatory to make it 45 days, right? So right now what working capital that we are using is we have the 40 crore working capital limit from the bank and the 30 crore fund that we have infused. So that is what the working capital that we are using right now.
I'm asking like working capital blocked in the form of trade receivables.
Working capital block?
Yeah.
So this is the normal working capital cycle. There is no block. It was only at the time that in the March that we see. Otherwise, as I mentioned, it was a reflection of the revenue growth. at the timing here. Then little bit machine sales, that is a longer credit cycle. Otherwise, it's no specific customer specific concern is there.
So is there any scope like in the future, near future, we can reduce our receivable days?
Reducing the receivable days is depend on it's again a strategic call. Then right now we are typically, this is the business cycle that we are working on, which is extended to 90 to 120 days, and this is the normal cycle that we are working right now.
Okay. So the entire industry works on the 90 to 120 days?
Yeah, industry, its working cycle is that only.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next question is from line of Praveen Jadhav from Dheeraj Investment. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, please.
Sir, you were saying, like in earlier calls, you had mentioned that the ink that we use, like, they buy from, the companies buy from us because, if they change the ink, then, like, the printing will come different, right?
Right,
so now,
right.
Yeah. So now, when we, like, when we do production of, from the new ink that we have, like, merged with us, so
right.
How will we, like, get the same, same thing, like,
right,
which you are providing currently?
So because India has a technology from the grassroots level, so we have all the formulation capability that any bottle, any color from any corner of the world, if we bring it to the India stable, then we can manufacture we can produce the same kind of ink, same kind of color tone and runnability. So that is the manufacturing capability, that is the formulation capability, the technology support that India has. And it is already being done, as I mentioned, the supply consistency is there since last 2.5 years. So it can be produced here in India as well.
Okay, so you're saying that it won't be a problem when we start?
It is at this time even it is not a problem. It's been 2.5 years that is it is consistent supply of ink is going into the market.
Okay, and so like second question is, like, in future are you planning to buy out the small digital printing machine companies in future? So you'll be like full-fledged, you'll be like.
So what happened? As we all four promoters are having the background of engineering. So it always runs into the mind that go backward and try to solve the technological issues. And that will always be in mind, and if that kind of opportunity comes into the picture that we can produce the machine here by buying some company or doing in-house some R&D, so that always runs in the mind, and we'll take that opportunity anytime.
Okay, and
because that's what how India should look like, how True Colors should look like in future. Yeah, I will support that question.
Okay, that's great to hear. And so last question is, I just missed out on like this year. What is your estimate for the revenues for 2027?
So we expect to grow at 20-22% over the medium term, and as I mentioned, the profitability growth should outpace the top line.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take that as the last question. And now hand the conference over to Mr. Satish for closing comments.
Yes, Niro, thank you. So thank you all for joining us today and for your thoughtful questions. We look forward to engaging with you again next quarter. And in the meantime, please feel free to reach out our IR team for any follow-up. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. On behalf of True Colors Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line. Thank you.